Go ahead.
All right, welcome to the Dude Ranch podcast. This is a very special episode here. Got a special guest here with us. Before we start, I got to say we're not affiliated with the Department of Defense, the Department of Navy. And also, before we start, I understand we have a challenge between T-Bag69 and Big Grizzly Barbell.
Yeah, so we're going to do a shotgun challenge. But as you'll notice, though, I have a 25-ounce can of Heineken, and Drew has a 12-ounce can because I'm doing the 25-ounce can because, you know what, 12-ounce shotguns are kind of for pussies. So
okay,
here we
cheers.
Go.
That's embarrassing, Drew.
Yeah, Drew finished first with that strawberry lemonade flavored water by about a second. Embarrassing.
Multiple seconds.
Big Grizzly, motherfucker.
Multiple seconds.
All right, what's your show, baby?
All right.
You didn't finish that whole goddamn
That's
thing.
foam in there.
Oh, my God.
That's foam in there. That's foam.
I'm embarrassed to say you're my son.
Just foam.
Nowadays don't even have foam, Drew. What's the matter with you?
All
my
beer,
God.
all
It was just foam.
Yep.
It's
See,
just the foam. That's all it was. is the foam.
Yeah, he gets it.
All right, well,
All
I'll take
right,
her
so
away, baby.
I'm the host of the show tonight, the Danny Hammer streamer on Facebook. Go ahead and look me up. We're going to send it down to T-Bag69. Go ahead and introduce yourself, buddy.
All right, you guys know me as T-Bag69, and for some of you guys, or most of you guys know that the other day I got accepted into the YouTube Partner Program, and it's time to start making some money off of this. All right, Big Grizzly.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Big Grizzly Barbell right here. Got a special announcement to make. Today, I hit a 20-pound PR on my squat, 525. Fucking nailed it and crushed it. Had some golf. You all know I won a lot of money off calling Morikawa last week. I had 3 fucking bets on Tiger Woods, Brooks Koepka, and Bryson DeChambeau. 2 of them didn't even make the cut. Tiger Woods barely made the cut and shit the bed today. And anyway, when I was going over to get the beer for tonight's show, Drew, I seen this fucking Trumpanzee walking across the street in these ripped up basketball shorts, these ripped shoes. He had no shirt on and he had a MAGA hat. And I yelled out the window. I was like, "Save some pussy for the rest of us, dude." Brady, go ahead, dog.
Nothing really to promote for me. Shout out to Drew for his YouTube partnership and was hitting 4K. Other than that, glad to have you here, Spike. Let's fucking get into it.
What about me?
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I don't really have anything to brag about today. I've been packing all day because I'm leaving for a multi-state tour. I guess that's something to brag about. I'm going on a multi-state tour for the campaign, so I'm having to wrap up loose ends. And so literally this is in between going and getting one of my suits from the tailor and finishing packing because we're leaving at 3 a.m. So
Well, thanks for
that's my brag. I didn't hit any sets today. I didn't do anything. I literally just packed all day.
Yeah, well, thanks for taking
Speaking
the
of
time.
wrapping up loose ends with the recent arrest of Maxine, whatever her name is, and the whole Epstein thing, huge scandal. Lots of people were like unofficially named and this and that. Spike, what do you think of the whole situation? Because it seems like there's a lot of people involved, like up towards the top of damn near everything, Hollywood and politics, stuff like that. What do you think about the?
Well, first of all, I think it's clear that Epstein didn't kill himself. I think it's very clear that Ghislaine Maxwell, when she kills herself, she didn't kill herself either. R.I.P. in advance to Ms. Maxwell. But I think that, like you said, it's very clear. I think that just from what we know, there's a lot of really powerful people who like going to private islands and raping children. And that's pretty troubling. It's not surprising. I think people that are attracted to positions of obscene amounts of power and wealth that they use to harm those around them to their immediate benefit, it's not surprising that they'd be into pedophilia because that's kind of the sexual equivalent of what they do to us every single day, which is just using their disproportionate amount of power against people to harm them just for them to directly benefit. So pedophilia would just be an extension of how they do that in another way. So it doesn't surprise me at all. I think that they will do everything they can to try to keep the number of people whose names get, released down as much as possible. But I mean, there's pictures of Epstein with Trump, with the Clintons, with Prince Andrew, with Ghislaine Maxwell. It looks like Harvey Weinstein may have been involved as well. Like, I mean, it just kind of goes down the entire row of people, and it's like a who's who of politics and entertainment, which at this point are essentially the same thing. They're just different extensions of the same thing. And I don't think it's the least bit surprising that we keep finding out that they're the sociopathic scumbags that they always have been.
Yeah.
So you're saying, this is my opinion, because I watched the documentary on Netflix. Trump was banging little girls too, wasn't he?
I mean,
I think he was there all the time.
He was there a lot. And the story is the official story from him is all of a sudden he discovered that it looked like maybe there was some pedophilia happening there. Yeah. And so he reported it to the police, and it's like, okay, he was there a lot. Was it that he didn't? And again, I don't have proof that he did anything, but he was there a lot. And then he told the police possibly when he saw that the heat was potentially coming and wanted to get out in front of it. Or he really did, you know, he was oblivious to the fact it was happening. And then he saw it and went, oh, this is bad. I'm going to go tell the police. I don't know what to tell you, but I know that a lot of very powerful people kept going to.
My point about that, though, is Trump, with all the money he has and all the resorts and everything he has, like, why would he go there so often? Not for the ambiance of the place. It was just an island with a mansion on it. You're only going there for one reason, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's not like he couldn't literally go anywhere on earth that he wanted to go.
Exactly.
And buy it, like, and even buy it outright, much less, you know, stay there. So, yeah, it doesn't look good for him either. I will say that, you know, when Epstein went to jail, we all joked about it. We all joked and said, oh, he's about to get suicided. And then he commits suicide. And it's like, really? Like, that's sort of like this across the board. It doesn't matter what political stripe you come from. You love Trump, you hate Trump. You love Biden, you hate Biden. You love the Clintons, you hate the Clintons. We all were kind of like, yeah, he didn't kill himself. There's no way.
Yeah, he definitely didn't kill himself. No, for sure.
But everyone blamed Hillary Clinton for killing him, though. The Trump pansies, they won't take any stock into the fact that Trump had anything to do with it. And that's my problem with that with his fan base. They are in denial on everything that he does wrong, and for the little bit that he's done okay, you know, that outweighs apparently going to a fucking island where they were raping kids. And
he was saying that Bill Clinton was one of the best presidents we ever had until about 2 months before the election. I remember during the whole Republican primary season in 2015 and 16, I thought, this is astounding. This man spends all of his time praising Bill Clinton, and they're eating it up. Like, they so hate the Bushes that they're even okay with someone praising Clinton as long as he's also bashing the Bushes, which I have no problem with bashing the Bushes at all. But the reality that these are people who are literally like praising Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, saying how he was so great. You know, the stuff he did wasn't that big of a deal. Well, you can't then turn around and say, oh, well, the Clintons are terrible. Well, your president, the person you voted for, completely disagrees with you and thinks that he's great up until recently. So if the Clintons had anything to do with it, Trump probably did too.
Well, my thing about Trump with the Clintons, though, is, like you said, he was great friends with them, and he was a Democrat all up. This is why I don't support that guy. I'm a lifelong Republican, and I don't support that guy as a Republican. To me, he's not even a real Republican. I don't know what the hell he is.
Well, I mean,
but easy with the Bush stuff. I love W, man. I served under W. I served under W. He took care of us boys in the Army, man.
Did he take care of you, or did he send you to the other side of the planet to fight in a war that had nothing to do with us?
No, that's what we signed up to do, man.
Right, but that didn't mean he had to do it. Like, you signed up to do that if you were ordered to, but that didn't mean we had to actually send
a lot of us wanted to do that.
That's fair. I was a neocon. I was one of the chicken hawks that was fine with you being sent there. I was.
I mean, he always gave us pay raises. We always had the best equipment. I love some W, man.
Yeah, I mean, we'd prefer to have you home, not having to do that stuff in a much safer place, and still getting pay raises and everything else, just not being subjected to possibly being killed any day.
Now, his dad was kind of simple. You can say what you want about his dad, but W, I love W.
Okay.
So, I saw on the Joe website that you guys did talk about bringing home the troops stationed in foreign countries. So that's all of the countries, like Japan, Poland, things like that, just everywhere?
That's everywhere, yeah. Bring the troops home. the founders didn't even intend for us to have a standing military. And if we are to have a military, which we're not advocating for about abolishing the military or anything like that. What we're advocating for is what Joe calls making America into one giant Switzerland, armed and neutral. Bring the troops home where they belong and have them on the ready for if there's any threat of invasion or aggression or against anything else. That's the whole point of having a military. Our military has turned into basically a contracting firm that goes out and fights on behalf of military contractors, oil contractors, weapons and energy contractors, and foreign dictators, and craven pandering politicians here at home. No offense to W. But that's what the military is used for. And I mean, we joke about it, but the reality is we're sending y'all off to potentially die, right? Like we're sending you off to potentially come back in a casket draped in a flag, and or come home with PTSD or chronic injuries or traumatic brain injuries. And then in case you survived all of that, then we make sure that you have a chance to die for your country one more time by subjecting you to the worst healthcare system in the country, a national healthcare system, the VA, just to make sure, just in case the war itself didn't kill you, then we give one more chance for you to potentially die from the worst healthcare outcomes in the country. And as a side note to that, to anyone who talks about that the government should be giving everyone health care, I would submit to you the Veterans Administration is proof that the federal government is the last organization that should be deciding who does or does not get health care. But all of that aside, we want the troops to be treated right. We want to honor and support the troops by not sending them off to become combat veterans, to potentially come home dead, or to potentially come home with all sorts of trauma and physical and emotional and mental trauma and injuries and everything else, or just coming home from the trauma of all of that happening and then being subjected to terrible care, so that we see how veterans are exponentially more likely to deal with addiction and homelessness and suicide. And it's not because there's anything particularly wrong with them. It's because of how they've been treated, how they've been sent overseas to do these things and then brought home and given terrible care as a result of it. We're going to end all of that. We're going to bring the troops home. We're going to have them where they belong, where they are safe, ready at the helm to fight if there's any need for them to fight. And also for those who need the care, instead of keeping this bloated and failed system, the Veterans Administration in place, we're simply going to just give the money to veterans to be able to get the care that they need, so they can get the same kind of outcomes that anyone else can get in the private healthcare market, which is far better than what the VA gives.
Yeah, I can attest to that. The VA sucks. But yeah. Let me ask you, let me add into that point there, because you were saying about fighting wars for oil and stuff like that. And I totally agree with you. We shouldn't be doing that. But what's your opinion on having bases, outposts in strategic military points where we can mass deploy, like Korea, Germany, places like that?
Poland is a big one, in my opinion, because we have
because it is important. It is important to have QRT teams there, just in case you have to mass deploy real quick. Because it's harder to do it from the United States if all the troops were in the United States.
Right. And first of all, it's not as though we can just simply snap our fingers and all the troops are magically home. There's going to be a drawdown that has to happen, and it'll more than likely take years for that to happen. But I mean, if the compromise of bringing the troops home and being basically a giant neutral country is to have some forward operating positions that can be used in joint by us and our allies, I don't think that there's a problem with that. But the point is that the mass occupation of basically the entire world that we have right now is not just leading to the bad outcomes in the hot zones, like in Afghanistan or in Iraq or something like that, but it's also leading to this really weird codependent relationship, what the founders called entangling alliances, that we have with countries around the world, countries that sort of hate us because of the position that we're in, sort of occupying and running roughshod over their countries. But then at the same time, when we talk about leaving, they go, no, you can't leave, because they're dependent on our defense, because they have spent all of their money on having a lavish social safety net and externalizing the cost of their defense to us, the U.S. taxpayer, and to you, the U.S. service person. So it's where we're basically defending the world and leaving them to sit there and go, well, I guess we're not involved, so we'll just leave it up to the U.S. and we'll kind of hate the U.S. and we'll sort of blame the U.S. for everything, and we'll get to spend all our money on having the finest of everything, and they'll take care of our defense. And it is like a really bad codependent relationship, and I think we need to start the divorce process. It's not to say that we can't have great relations with these countries, just the opposite. By getting out of there and putting them in a position where now they're reliant, like any other self-standing country, for their defense and for their diplomatic relations and everything else, now we can have a much more healthy relationship with them. We can have a relationship based on diplomacy and trade, opposed to, well, you know, we occupy your country, so you have to do what we say. That hasn't worked. That hasn't given us good outcomes. It's simply enriched very powerful, well-heeled billionaire cronies who have bought and paid for the pandering politicians to be in place at our direct expense. We're the ones paying for it. And by the way, I'm sorry, my dog won't leave me alone. But in taxes and also in the Federal Reserve, printing out endless trillions of dollars to pay for all of this and leaving us with the bill. Every day, the Federal Reserve lends money to the federal government by buying 40-year treasury bonds. Every single day, new debts are coming out that we have to pay off, our children have to pay off, their children have to pay off, and potentially even their children have to pay off with interest for something that is not benefiting us. It is not helping us. It is only benefiting that small relative handful of people who own the majority of wealth in the country.
So yeah. I have a question. You started out this campaign with Vermin Supreme, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. So was that to kind of get your foot in the door, or were you like all on board, like going all for it kind of thing?
Well, Vermin Supreme has an incredible way of using humor to reach people that are so disgusted with the system that they don't want to hear a damn thing from a politician ever again. And if you listen to the reasons why they're so disgusted, they're right. They say, you know, politicians don't listen to you. No matter what a politician says, you can't trust them. They get elected. They do whatever the hell they want. Doesn't even line up with what they promised. The government's out to get us. They're really just there to take from us and give to those with the most power already. Everything they say is 100% correct. But they're so disgusted with the system, even we can't reach them. No one can reach them. If I show up and go, hi, I'm Spike Cohen, and I'd like to talk to you about libertarian common sense, they've already shut me out. They don't want to hear it. But someone like Vermin Supreme using humor and satire can reach them and can get them to pay attention. And not only pay attention, but because they don't feel like they're being pandered to or lied to or having their ideas challenged by some politician, their cognitive defenses go down. They're paying attention. They're enjoying it. They're fully engaged with it. And over time, they start to think, well, what's this really all about? Why is this person talking about ponies and zombies and everything? Like, what, this clearly seems like a smart person. What is he talking about? And that's when we can hit them with the message. We've drawn them in, and then we can hit them with the message. And so, you know, Vermin Supreme has recognized that the government, the Republicans and Democrats, and their craven news media, corporate news media, has taken the political discourse in this country and had it rise to the level of a joke where we are the punchline, and the punchline's not funny. We're just the punchline. And so Vermin gives a chance to turn that punchline around on them where it belongs and get people involved and get people pulled into libertarianism as a result. And we're grateful for him for doing that. And we're grateful for him and all the help he's doing in supporting our campaign. Joe and I are running to change that, so that this isn't a cynical joke anymore, so that the government isn't set up, gamed to put people in positions of permanent failure and make sure they can never get ahead to the behest and benefit of well-heeled cronies who want to keep everyone else down and reliant and anxious and desperate for their own direct benefit and to the expense of literally everyone else.
So the time travel to kill baby Hitler and ISIS, that was a joke? Or
no, that's true. No, that's true. We're definitely going back and killing baby Hitler.
Do you guys have any current progress on making the time travel to go back and kill baby?
No, see, we need to get in charge. We got to get in charge of the Department of Energy. We got to get in charge of Area 51. There's a lot of things that have to happen first, or else we're not going to be able to time travel. Like we are having they're keeping the truth from us. Once we get into office, we can really start playing with the big toys and do the Men in Black stuff and go back in time and not just kill baby Hitler, but kill baby Woodrow Wilson before him. Because if it wasn't for baby Woodrow Wilson, there would be no baby Hitler, or at least baby Hitler would have just probably not grown up to do much of anything. But we're probably still going to go ahead and kill baby Hitler because screw that guy.
But from what from all the time traveling movies I've seen, like going back in time and fucking up events messes up the future, right? I mean, that's all fiction, but I'm just saying.
No, this is going to not do that.
No.
All right, let me ask you this. So this is kind of a two-part question. One, okay. And I'm an independent, so I always have said that I would like to see, an outside candidate get in there. Obviously, the two-party system is the giant. And with that said, how do you guys think you're going to be able to topple that giant? And two, the Republicans and the Democrats are, their campaigns are generating millions and millions of dollars. Like, financially, do you guys struggle to keep up with that? Do you have any chance of keeping up with that?
So I'll answer that part first. We are beating all of our benchmarks for fundraising and volunteers. We don't expect we're going to raise hundreds of millions of dollars because we're not in the same position, but we also don't need to. See, we have the benefit of the fact that our ideas are good and we don't have to defend what the Republicans and Democrats do. They have had exclusive control of every lever of power in government, federal, state, and local for over 160 years. They have created the mess. They have worked together to create the mess. They have created the political theater of division in this country that makes people feel as though, that there's this massive difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and that if you vote for Donald Trump, you're a fascist, and if you vote for Joe Biden, you're a far left communist and you hate America. When the reality is, if you look at their actual policies and what they've actually done when they're in office, they have worked hand in hand together to do every terrible thing that has happened, the terrible, centrally planned, arbitrarily defined, and crony-friendly policies of the Republicrats working hand in hand together for over 160 years. They have to defend that. That's why they have to raise all that money. That's why they have to spend all this time dividing people against each other so that we don't step back and go, wait a second. They're all in on this together. They're all doing this all together. Here are all these pictures of them holding hands and hugging each other and hanging out at cocktail hour and everything else on our dime, at our expense, while they screw us over and have us fighting each other in the streets, literally fighting each other in the streets over which side's right. They're all in on it. And so that puts us in a great position. In my mind, the most important thing that we need to do to win this election is to get the 15% to qualify to get on the debate stage. Once that,
I want to see that. I see Joe. She campaigns for that, and I think that'd be very interesting, to be honest. And truthfully, I don't know how well she debates because obviously I've never seen it. She seems like a pretty intelligent lady, but them two other ones, man, they're both dumb as shit.
You have two men who can barely form a coherent sentence between them.
That's what I'm saying. They're both dumb as a bag of rocks.
and when they do, they'll have to explain, because here's what they do. When it's just the two of them, they don't have to defend their records. They just go after each other on stupid personal garbage that doesn't matter. And they go, oh, you're a hypocrite because you did this. Oh, no, you're a hypocrite because you did this. With Jo Jorgensen there, she can say, yeah, you're both hypocrites. And here's how you're hypocrites. Jo Jorgensen is a brilliant self-made entrepreneur, but she's also a senior lecturer. She is her profession is to break down complex ideas in a way that connect with everyday Americans. She will be able to break down point by point and case by case how Donald Trump and Joe Biden and their respective parties have created the mess that we're in, and how her common sense libertarian solutions are the way out of that mess. And it will be such a stark contrast between these two buffoons. Donald Trump, a man who has spent his entire career leveraging government to harm people for his direct benefit through eminent domain and through the bankruptcy courts and everything else, and who promised to drain the swamp only to become the king of the swamp creatures. And then Joe Biden, a man who is emblematic and one of the architects of every terrible policy that's happened over the last nearly 60 years, the war on drugs, the military-industrial complex, the militarized police state, and everything else in between. He's the architect of that when he's not busy sniffing children. This is who the Republicans and Democrats have put up. And you put someone in there as a contrast, someone like Jo Jorgensen, not only are people going to realize that not only are we not a wasted vote or a vote thrown away, not voting for her and voting for one of those clowns is a vote thrown away. So in my mind, when we get her on that debate stage, it's all over. We won the election. And so
now, how close is she to that 15%?
Pretty darn close. So in 2016, Gary Johnson and Bill Weld got 13% in one poll and 11% in two other polls. So they were within spitting distance of getting on that stage. Now, what's happened in the last 4 years? There were no Americans on the streets losing their minds over everything that government has done. But we're seeing that now. We're seeing across the political spectrum, from the lockdowns and police brutality and everything else, people across the spectrum are out in the streets protesting government. We are outraged like never before. We just watched the government impose a pandemic on us by refusing to allow by actually banning medical professionals from treating people for COVID-19 for the first nearly 2 months that it was here. And as a result, it's completely out of control. And they responded by telling everyone to stay home unless they have to go to Walmart or Costco, in big numbers in a building. That's perfectly safe. But don't go to a small business up the road where there will be like 3 of you in the same building. That's unsafe. Don't go and visit your family. Don't go to the beach or the park or to church. That's unsafe. Go to Walmart. Go to Costco, go stay home and buy stuff on Amazon and go watch Netflix. And for the big businesses that they couldn't tell you to keep patronizing, like hotels and airlines and banks and things like that, they just gave them trillions of dollars in bailouts and made you pay for it. The amount of money that they spent on the CARES Act and the Federal Reserve bailouts of Wall Street are the equivalent they could have given every single American, not every taxpayer, not every household, every single American, including children, $17,000.
Yeah, but did you see the beaches in Florida? It looked like Walmart's down there.
No, I know it did, because people were fed up. People said, you know what, screw it, I don't care. So they could have given each of us 17 grand. Instead, they gave us $1,200. They gave the rest of it to very, very well-heeled, powerful people whose bottom lines actually went up. They actually made more money than they would have made if all of this hadn't happened, just because the bailouts for them were so generous. And then they stuck you with the bill. You're paying that 17 grand per person with interest for the next 40 years because of their failures. And then they told us, don't you dare go outside. Don't you dare do anything we tell you not to do, or we will put you in a jail where you're almost certain to get COVID-19. So the threat there is very clear. We are going to impose pandemics on you and use it as an excuse to order you around and steal money from you. And if at any point you do not comply with what our orders are, we will guarantee that you get infected. That is what you get from Republicans and Democrats.
I also have to agree with you on that, because when the pandemic first broke out and every place was running out of toilet paper, every time that toilet paper would pop back up in Walmart, it was like $20 more, $15 more, which is actually against the law. They're not supposed to be allowed to do that.
Yep.
And nothing happens because they're corporate fat cats, and they're just getting their pockets lined with all this money.
And they're getting bailouts. They're making record profits and getting bailouts. You're being told that you're non-essential and you can't work, and here's $1,200. Make that work forever. Make it work until we tell you otherwise. And don't you dare get a mask, because you're being selfish and stealing. Oh, what's that? Oh no, you better wear a mask or we're putting you in jail. Like, that's how they've been treating us through this whole thing, because they have no idea what they're doing.
Spike, wasn't they giving people on unemployment was making more money than they were actually making working? Because I know people that was on unemployment. I'm not an essential worker. I call myself an expendable worker. But people said that they were making more money on unemployment than they were making on their jobs.
There were some people who were actually making more money. What are you doing? This dog is like trying to climb under me. Get out. I usually have this door locked, and apparently I didn't. So now my dog is. Please go away, please. Anyway, yes, there were some. There we go. So there were some workers that are better on unemployment, than they did if they had continued working. So there's a great idea from government: stay home and we'll pay you more. And so the businesses were actually having a hard time having their workers come in, because they'd rather be on unemployment. So I mean, this is the kind of solution we get from government is just bad ideas that make things worse. And again, when the first patients were coming into doctors' offices and saying, "Doc, I just got back from Wuhan, China, and I'm not feeling too hot, and I'm seeing this stuff on TV about this coronavirus over there. I'm afraid I have it." The doctors had to say, "Yeah, you might have it. There's no way that we can do anything because we're not allowed to test for it." Because the government said, "Oh no, you have to wait for us to make our own test." And it took them 2 months, and none of those tests work. So they actually were not allowed to test and treat. Now, thankfully, there were some doctors who broke the law and just made the test kits themselves. Apparently, unless you're the government, it's actually an easy thing to do if you know how to do such a thing. They made the test kits. They tested people. Some of them came back positive. They went to the CDC and they said, "Hey, listen, it's already here. We have to do something." The CDC's initial response to that was they said, "Destroy those test results. Tell no one. Don't even tell the patients. Send them home. Do not test or treat them." A virus that left to its own devices doubles in its spread every single day, every 18 hours or 2 days or something. That's why it ran roughshod through this country before we were able to catch up with it. Because for the first 2 months, they just let it spread and they didn't tell anyone. And then they used that spread as an excuse to further order us around and give massive bailouts to their well-heeled billionaire cronies that put them in office. And they gave the rest of us scraps and told us to stay home indefinitely.
That's an astute observation.
That is.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Well, now they're saying all the test results coming back are going directly to Trump now, right? They're not turning them into the CDC no more.
I heard something about, he doesn't like the testing. He has said that he doesn't like the testing because the numbers keep going up.
Yeah.
I know. I seen that the other day. He was like, stop testing. And I'm like, why the fuck would we stop testing?
Yeah,
The guy is a moron, dude.
He told a story. He said, yeah, the problem with this testing is, we had someone working here at the White House and she kept getting tested and it was negative, and then one day it was positive. Yeah, that's how testing works. You might be negative now, but in the future you might be positive. This is clearly someone that doesn't have a major grasp on reality. But and because
speaking on it,
go ahead,
Spike. Speaking of him being a moron, his niece's book. Do you believe that he had someone take his SAT for him? I firmly believe that. We'll never be able to prove it because the dude took the SAT before the color television was invented. But did you believe it? I think he did. I
certainly wouldn't be surprised to hear it. I mean, this is a man who pretended that he was someone else and would call people and say how great he was. Like, I mean, this is a uniquely narcissistic person. He would call people. It was so obvious. I mean, there were recordings of him talking. It's so obviously his voice. He's like, yeah, my name's John Barron. Donald Trump's so rich and powerful and wealthy. He's great. I got to go. Like, who does that? Like, this is what the kind of person that we're dealing with. And
can I butt in a second though? Because Danny Hammer's laughing at that, but I remember in 2016 he was the biggest Trump pansy.
Oh yeah, the Danny Hammer was a big Trump guy in 2016.
Okay,
you've seen the light now. You've seen the light. But
it happens. We've all had our person. I remember when I was trying to explain to people why we should vote for John McCain for president. I can't give anyone a hard time.
I like John McCain. He's a war veteran.
I know.
I respect all my war veterans.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't disrespect that. It's what he did when he was in Congress, not and in the Senate. I can't even imagine what he went through in Vietnam. But I mean, it sounds like it was an absolute nightmare that he went through. So I definitely respect that. But
let's let the Danny Hammer defend himself on that.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Danny.
I mean, I grew up watching all these politicians do their thing. Nothing worked. I wanted an outsider, I wanted an outsider. I saw what he did. It's not the best, So, now, I mean, that's it.
But he was on TV. He was a fucking idiot. He was an idiot when he was on TV.
It's a logical thing, though. You know what I mean? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and fucking, expecting a different response. So, I saw what he did, and I changed my mind. So obviously, I'm a rational human being.
Yeah, and I give you credit for that. I give you credit for that. You thought that he would come in and be different than what he was replacing. He wasn't, and you've been willing to say, okay, well then I was wrong, and he or not even I was wrong. He lied because he said he was going to do what you thought he was going to do. So he didn't, and now you don't support him anymore. That's perfectly reasonable and rational. What concerns me is the people that, and we saw it with Obama, we've seen it with other presidents as well, where people, they make that initial buy-in, and then because they don't want to feel like they're wrong, they just they just hunker down and double down even more, even as the person whose trust they've put the person they put their trust in just keeps betraying them over and over again. But they'd rather be okay with just being betrayed than just realize that it's okay to admit that someone lied to you and that you were wrong.
So I gotta say though, I support the president until the day he's out of the office. You know what I mean? So once he's out of the office, then I support the next president. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean?
Well,
yeah,
I don't want to generalize a certain group of people, but we can all agree that most of the Trump fans they're one-dimensional fellas and ladies. They have one common goal, and he speaks to that. He's a big American, and he's all for American. And he hits that patriot spot in people's hearts. That's why I think most people are so loyal to him.
And it's a really
Brady, you can call him Trump pansies, the word that I made up.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I don't want to generalize a bunch of them because there may be some rational people out there that still like him for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm sure there is somewhere, but the majority of the people you see supporting him, they're only with him for one reason. That's it. Well, they don't care about his political views. They don't care about none of that. They're all bought in.
And it's a very skewed definition of patriotism they have because historically American patriotism was rebellion against government, active rebellion against government. The patriots were the people, that were often either fighting against what government was doing or advocating against it or whatever else. It's this weird, like post-World War II thing we have where patriotism is basically doing whatever the government says and cheering on like the worst abuses of government and making excuses for it. And that's historically, that's not patriotism. A lot of the people going around calling themselves patriots now, the founders would have tarred and feathered them, like for what they support. So it's an odd thing that's happened. Like we were founded on rebellion and resistance to the tyranny that was happening around us. So I like that kind of patriotism. I like the patriotism of people saying, we've had enough of this. We're going to take our power back. And, we're going to fight for our rights and fight for what has been taken from us to have it back. That's the patriotism I support.
So you likely touched on this earlier, the police brutality. I saw that you guys support demilitarizing the police. Do you guys have any current plans in place that you would like to enact once you take office? Or is that something that you guys are going to form a big plan for down the road?
So there's a few things that can happen immediately. First of all, the biggest single problem, I'll touch on the militarization part first, and then we'll talk about the biggest single problem. We had the 1033 military surplus program, which was designed as basically a boondoggle to guarantee jobs for weapons contractors and training contractors. That was the purpose of it, was basically to keep them employed. Once these types of military surplus equipment were no longer deemed necessary for the military, all these people that were trained, whose job it was to train people how to use them, were going to be out of work. So they just said, all right, well, we'll just give it to the police instead. So now you have the police with, strikers and MRAPs and grenade launchers and armed drones and all this stuff in like small town police departments. They don't need it, but all you had to do was fill out a form and you get a free striker out of it. But what you also get is the training. And that's arguably the worst part of it, because you have police officers who are supposed to be trained in de-escalation and in trying to actually bring some peace and calm to their communities. They're being trained in using military equipment, which only had military applications. The people who designed the striker didn't say, we're going to eventually have this used in like our neighborhoods for just like regular police duties. And so you have this military equipment and they're getting military training from military contractors on how to use it. And it's helping change their mindset into an increasingly militant mindset. And that, coupled with the growing rift of distrust with the public that they serve, is leading to an increasing number of bad interactions between the police and the public. So that's a major problem that will end on day one. There was no reason for us to turn the police into a paramilitary force in our own streets to begin with. But the biggest single problem is something that started in the 1950s, and that's called qualified immunity. So prior to the 1950s, if a police officer or any other government official infringed upon the rights of one of the American people, they could be sued for that. They could be held liable for that. They and the agency that they were a part of, if they were deemed to be a part of it too, could be held responsible for it. In the 1950s, the Supreme Court had to basically find a way to allow the southern states and their police to brutalize civil rights protesters. And later it was strengthened so that they could brutalize anti-war protesters. Later it was strengthened for the war on drugs. After that, it was strengthened for the war on terror. It's been an ongoing thing. But they initially introduced out of whole cloth, they legislated from the bench and created the idea of qualified immunity. Qualified immunity basically means that a police officer or government official cannot be held liable for infringing upon the rights of the people that they're supposed to be serving if that individual officer or official determines that what they did was reasonable under the context of the course of their duties. Imagine if you could go to court and say, Your Honor, I know that I've been accused of murder here, but I think what I did was perfectly reasonable. And the judge goes, okay, well then I'll throw the charges out. That's qualified immunity. Sure. Qualified immunity is why Derek Chauvin, who killed George Floyd, who murdered George Floyd, had 17 other complaints against him before that happened, including wrongful death complaints. He may have murdered other people. And when the Minneapolis Police Department looked at Derek Chauvin, they did the same cost-benefit analysis that police departments around the country do when they look at the bad apples in their bunch. They said, this guy sucks. Look at all the stuff he's doing to these people. He's harming people. He may be even murdering people. We really should get rid of him. But if we try to get rid of him, it's going to cost us a fortune. We're going to have to fight the police unions. We're going to have to spend all of this money and time, and there's no guarantee we'll be able to get rid of him. And if we keep him on, it's not costing us anything because of qualified immunity. We can't be sued. He can't be sued. So it's not really costing us anything. We'll just let him stay on the force, and eventually he's going to go too far, and we'll just have him arrested, and then we can finally get rid of him. And that's how bad policing is incentivized in this country. And good policing is punished in this country. Because if you try to hold a bad cop accountable, nothing happens to them. And then the blowback comes on you for, for not keeping with the blue code, not backing the thin blue line. And so there's become this culture of, back your buddies because nothing's going to happen to them anyway. If you get rid of qualified immunity and bring it back to what the law actually said, and not what the Supreme Court legislated from the bench, and put it back where it's supposed to be, now all of that flips around. Now the police departments and the police unions are going to actively look for bad officers and get rid of them as soon as possible, if for no other reason than to not end up being sued by them, both the unions and the departments and the officers on the ground, because they don't want to get sued either. So as soon as you see a cop that's looking awful murdery or abusey, they're going to want to get rid of them right off the bat. They're going to implement stuff to try to root out potential bad cops before they ever even do anything, so that they can so that now good policing is encouraged. Police are encouraged to stop their fellow officers when they do bad things, so that they're not held liable. Bad cops are actively disincentivized and removed as soon as they possibly can. It changes everything around by simply holding them as accountable as any of us would be held if we did something similar. So that's one powerful thing we can do. But you couple that with ending the war on drugs, ending no-knock raids, ending warrantless surveillance, ending warrantless raids, ending warrantless searches, ending I already said the military surplus program. Couple all of those things together, and now you have two things. You have officers who are being held accountable, and you have officers who aren't being made to go and prosecute this ridiculous war on drugs and putting millions of people in jail to use for chattel slavery, which is essentially what they're doing. They're putting them in jail, having them give free prison labor because they're drug addicts who were supporting their own habit. So they get put in there for free labor. They're still using drugs, by the way, so that nothing was changed. Now they're just also slaves to the benefit of billionaire for-profit prison labor contractors who are making so much money hand over fist that they're actually traded on the stock market. You have the majority of states now that actually have a minimum quota of the number of the American people, that have to be in their prisons at any given time in order to not upset their contracts with these contractors. I mean, that's how disgusting this system has become. We'll end all of that.
Spike, my question about that, though, is because you were talking about the police unions and it's hard to get rid of them because of the unions. But if this guy had so many complaints against him, and I value leadership, so if the leadership in that police department, why wouldn't you just put him on fucking desk duty? If he had that many complaints, just get him off the streets and get him on desk duty. I don't understand why they don't do that, because you're not violating the union. He still has his job.
Depending on what the job is, they can actually go after you for that. They can say that, you've demoted me for something that I haven't actually violated any rules or anything like that. These police unions and public employee unions in general, but especially the police unions, are completely out of control because they're not held accountable. And it's actually incentivized for them to do abusive behavior because they're not held accountable. There's no reason for them to be held accountable because the Supreme Court has given them this absurd cover with qualified immunity. So it's part of the problem. We saw what happened. There was the shooting in Broward County, Florida. I forget the name of the school, but there's an active shooting happening. The officer just stays outside. He doesn't go in.
There was a shitload of memes about that. Those memes were the best.
Yeah. So he gets fired, and a couple months ago, he was brought back. The police unions spent the last however many years since that shooting happened, 2 years, 3 years, fighting for him to get his job back. So he got his job back with back pay. They had to give him $1 million, and he's got his job back. So it's not as easy as just putting him on desk duty or getting rid of them or whatever else, because you have a police union breathing down your neck saying, no, you can't do anything to this officer. And in fact, you can't even hold this against them in deciding whether or not to promote them. It's bad. I have talked to a lot of officers who do not want to be quoted or don't want to be named in their quotes. And they say, you can't be a good cop in a metro police department because the police unions are so corrupt and are so built around protecting the most abusive officers that you're almost incentivized to be a bad officer. When you see what happened to that guy in Buffalo where they knocked over that old man, this is the kind of stuff that happens. It's been going on all along. We're just now seeing it because everyone's walking around with an HD camera. So it's not hidden anymore. But so what's happening is people are seeing for the first time that these out of control police departments are punishing good cops. Yes, there are bad apples in the bunch, and they're brought to the top of the barrel for everyone to see. And all the good apples in the bunch are essentially, sidelined because they don't want cops that are going to tell on other cops.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. Okay. So with all that you just said, which was all good information and, it was well said. So hypothetically saying you guys get in, and your plan is, I'm guessing with what you say, to topple them unions, or is that what you're getting at?
Oh, there's no need to topple them necessarily. If you end qualified immunity now, they're going to be just as incentivized as anyone else to get rid of bad cops. Just hold them accountable.
Okay. So that's what you're okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to get to the basis of your plan there.
Yeah. Well, and we can't. I mean, police unions are a question of that's a state's issue. That is not for the federal government to come in and say you have police unions. That's certainly not what we're saying. What we're saying is that this entire system was built around a really bad legal doctrine that has nothing to do with the law. The law says nothing about qualified immunity. The law says that if you harm someone's civil rights, you can be sued. And it's very plain language. This was written in 1871. It's not like how it is now where they write 6,000 pages for something. It's very clear. And they created this doctrine out of thin air just to allow police officers to be able to brutalize people. And it's led to exactly that. So no, if you just allow them to be held accountable, the police unions, the police departments, the officers themselves, they're going to have a vested interest in rooting out bad cops.
Well, that sounds like a world that would be nice to live in. Sounds like, you know, and it sucks to say because but like we're just so programmed as citizens to call that a pipe dream. You know what I'm saying? It's like, would it be great to happen? Fucking absolutely. But
it's a pipe dream to expect it to come from Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
and that's the pipe dream. It is a pipe dream to think that the people who imposed these messes on us are going to clean them up. And that's
I like what you guys are about. I like your party. I've been reading it. And since this, you know, I've picked up a lot of followers on Twitter from a lot of libertarians. So I see what you guys talk about and I pay attention. I like you guys' stuff. But in the same sense, it's still like, it's a pipe dream for the fact that it's a two-party system looks like it's going to be undefeated. You know what I'm saying? I want it to change. I really do. But I'll be shocked the day I see the two-party system get toppled by another party. I want to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be a major feat when it happens. Look at every major social change that has happened in this country. It was largely on the momentum of people saying this is never going to happen. This is never going to happen. This is never going to happen.
Yeah.
Wait a second, is this happening? Oh my gosh, it happened. Like every single time it's that same thing where it looks impossible until it happens, until maybe moments before it happens.
But I think that'll be the biggest shocker to ever grace the world, unless they tell us what's in Area 51. But
we're going to do that, and what's in Area 51 are the time traveling machines. I mean, we've been clear on that. But what we're going to be doing is, we're seeing a groundswell across the board of support for us that we've never seen before. Libertarianism has always been a relatively small movement, at least in the U.S. And what we're seeing is support from the Second Amendment community, from the active duty troops community, from law enforcement communities increasingly, from combat veterans, from civil rights protesters and Black Lives Matter protesters, from civil liberties people, from criminal defense attorneys, from people in government who want to see a reform to government. We're seeing people across the board, constitutional conservatives who have finally given up on the idea that the Republicans are ever going to give them their limited government that they want. I mean, you've got, Donald Trump, who has spent more money and run up more debt in one term than Barack Obama did in 2 terms. And Obama was the previous record holder for both of those things.
That's sick. It's sick when you see that fucking number too.
It's absurd. It is, and it's only going to get worse. It's the precedent is being set. It's only going to get
absolutely.
So no, we are seeing a groundswell of support across the board. I think we're going to get that 15%. And I think then when she gets on that debate stage, it's all over. And what will happen then is all the people who said, well, I'd vote for a third party, but I don't think they can win. Once they realize that we can win, I think it's going to be a landslide. I think it's going to be a very quick snowball effect that happens.
Yeah. And another thing, honestly, go ahead, Drew. Go ahead.
Right. Well, I got a question. I mean, with the whole Kanye West 2020 movement, like, if he I know it's like a pipe dream, but like if he gets on the ballot, like, do you think that affects you guys at all because of his
already backed out of the race last week, I believe, Drew?
No, so he actually is still trying to get on the ballot, but what's happening is he's not able to because he's discovering what we've known for decades, which is that the Republicans and Democrats don't just let you get on the ballot. Unless you're a Republican, you have to get hundreds of thousands of signatures in some of these states and tens of thousands in others, and which is hard enough in the best of conditions.
Yeah.
Right now, there are no major events you can go to try to get petitions signed. Most states don't allow you to knock on doors for non-essential reasons, and ballot petitions are not considered an essential reason. So they basically made it impossible for us to be able to try to get on the ballot. We do expect to be able to get on all 50 state ballots, either as libertarians or as independents. We were able to do it in 2016. We have every bit of confidence that we'll be able to do it in 2020. We're already on 37 of them. And it's looking good for the other 13 as well. We're actually suing for ballot access relief. Kanye West is discovering that just because he's a billionaire doesn't mean that the Republicrats are going to let him play it in their sandbox. And he doesn't have the organizational structure in place to be able to actually do it. So the good news here is that he is bringing to light the fact, which a lot of people don't know. A lot of people assume that, no one else is on the ballot because no one else wants to run. They don't realize it's because they're actively shut out by the laws that the Republicrats have put in place. So he's drawing a massive light on that right now, and we're very grateful for it.
So you're saying if Trump wins re-election, so in 4 years, then the Republicans will probably back Kanye West because they think he gets some votes off his popularity?
Nothing surprises me anymore.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm embarrassed of the Republican Party. I'm a GOP for fucking 27 years. I'm embarrassed of the party.
Yeah, I mean, I could certainly, I honestly, nothing surprises me anymore. I will admit, I like the aesthetic of the birthday party. He says, I'm calling it the birthday party because when I win, it's going to be everybody's birthday. That made me smile. I don't dislike that, but I think, Kanye is experiencing what anyone who's running for office who isn't a Republican experiences. Will the Republicans embrace him in 2024 when he runs against Joe and I running for re-election? Very possibly.
Well played.
I like the confidence. I love the confidence.
I mean, it's hard. I look forward to debating.
Hey, that brings me up to a question. If you did win the election and the whole Dude Ranch podcast votes for you, can we get a podcast in at least the Rose Garden, maybe?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll have you in the Admiral's house. And I discovered that,
can we shotgun beers?
Yeah, you can shotgun. Well, I've been sober for 14 years, but you can shotgun beers.
We're clipping that, right? We're clipping.
Oh yeah,
sure. And I mean, my house, the Admiral's house, the vice president's house has its own honeybees, so you could make your own honey mead there, and drink that as well. So I mean, there's
I see Bush Light. That's all. Just Bush.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, then that's readily available. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just real quick, you said you got the 15% in 37 states. Is that what you said?
No. We have ballot access in 37 states. Okay. So we're going to be on the ballot already in 37 states. It's looking good for the lawsuits that we have in the others. And there are some others that we're still just working on getting the ballots. Yeah. But there are, so actually one of them is Illinois. I'm actually flying up there tomorrow in order to be able to personally file our paperwork to be on the ballot. So we anticipate being on all 50 by the time the election comes around, either as
Do you have any ballot in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, let me look it up. I think so. I'm trying to remember. It's hard to remember all the different states. We are Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is one of the ones that we haven't, that the deadline hasn't happened yet. But we anticipate that we'll be able to be on there through the petitioning process. But so yeah, it's one of the 13 that we're not on there yet.
So I'd like to ask you about a big thing that you guys are for is criminal justice reform and ending laws against crimes that don't affect other people.
And just to let you know, I have 5 more minutes because I have a 7 o'clock interview that I'm doing after this, so I can give you 5 more minutes. But yeah, no. So the biggest problems, and we kind of touched on this with the police because that's part of criminal justice reform. But we have a problem in this country where the majority of people that are in prison for crimes that didn't have a victim. They're in prison for selling a drug that competed with big pharma and that the government decided legal.
That's it.
It's a combination of competition with big pharma and stupid laws that were passed decades ago that we're still enforcing for some reason. We learned during Prohibition what happens when you take something and make it illegal. The stuff that you were just talking about, Bush Light, the beer and everything else that you can just go to a store and buy right now. Criminal gangs were on the streets fighting each other every day with Tommy guns in order to be able to protect their turf because it was illegal. If you make it legal, then it's something you can just buy. And I'm not saying that drugs are good, you should go do drugs. I've been sober for 14 years. I don't think anyone should do drugs. What I'm saying is that the way you treat people that want to do drugs is if they have an addiction, you treat it as a health problem. You don't throw them in prison for it. It doesn't fix it. They're still an addict in prison. And then when they get out, they're an addict with a criminal record. And I got news for you. They're going to end up right back in prison. It's going to cost the American people a fortune. It's going to destroy entire communities. It is going to lead to the empowerment of drug cartels and criminal organizations that they can use to victimize people in other ways. It is going to be a massive loss of our collective brain power. All of these people that could have been doing something productive, and instead tens of millions of them are thrown in prison and used for free chattel labor until they're too old to work anymore, and then they're put in the old folks section of the prison and left there to rot. It's a terrible, terrible thing that has happened, and it has led to massive rifts of distrust between the public and the police who are supposed to be serving them. Because now, if you see a cop, you aren't saying, "Oh, good, here's someone who's here to protect me and my life and my property." You're going, do I have something on me? Oh, I got to maintain. I hope they don't realize I'm high or whatever else. Or I hope they don't realize my friend that I'm with is high. Or I hope that they don't decide to plant something on me or whatever else. And it's leading to a huge rift between the public and the police.
Spike, I know you only got a couple minutes, so I want you to touch on this before you go. Tell me about the prostitution thing that Joe talked about.
Oh, that prostitution is sex and capitalism, and they're both wonderful things, and why would we be against that? Yeah, no, I mean, listen, sex work, same thing with drugs. I mean, if you have sex with someone and you give them money, but you also recorded it and then you upload it to Pornhub, that's perfectly legal in most states. But if you don't have a camera and you keep it to yourself, that's now illegal. Oh, okay. And more importantly, that black market allows for human trafficking. It allows for pimps. It allows for all the most terrible, abusive parts of the sex work trade, because again, you put it in the hands of criminal organizations instead of letting the market have it, in whatever way they want. Again, I'm not saying go ahead.
You're for legalized prostitution in a health-conscious atmosphere.
End the war on sex work. Let people choose to do what they want with their bodies, and buying and selling their services. And if someone is being abused, deal with that situation. Don't criminalize everyone and put them in prison for it. It doesn't solve the problem. Putting people in prison for doing things we don't like doesn't work. You put people in prison if they're a threat to others, if they've harmed people and are such a threat that you can't have them out walking around other people. Anything else either isn't a crime because it doesn't have a victim, or it is a crime because it had a victim, but it's something that can be dealt with through a diversion program or something, so that person can go on and learn the lesson from what they did and rectify the problem they created, and go on and live to be upstanding, upright people. Prison is not this, throw everyone in prison so we can use their labor because that's the easiest way to deal with it. It doesn't work. It is not helping.
Spike, I'd really like to thank you so much for being on with us. I think we were ready for our first woman president last election, but I think she had some skeletons in her closet.
Not that one. God.
Yeah.
Allegedly, literally.
Literally, allegedly. Yeah. Thank you folks for having me on. I'm glad we were able to get this done. And folks, if you like what you heard, my social media is @RealSpikeCohen. I'm Spike Cohen on Facebook. I am. Yeah, it's right. It's right here. I'm @literally Spike Cohen on Instagram. I'm @literally Spike Cohen on TikTok for the kids. Tell kids to follow me. Our website is Joe20. That's JO20.com. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yep. Good luck in the campaign.
Thank you very much. That means a lot. Talk to y'all soon.
Yep. See you later.
In the Rose Garden. In the fucking Rose Garden.
Now we got that clip. There you go. See, now we need the Libertarian Party. We need the Libertarian Party to pull a UMBC and fucking shock the world is what we need.
We're getting a fucking Dude Ranch podcast in a fucking Rose Garden.
Let's collectively, put like $100 on Joe Jorgensen to win the election. She got to be plus like $1 million.
Is that on FanDuel?
Yeah, good on
FanDuel.
FanDuel.
It's on FanDuel.
For real?
Is it really?
Yeah. I don't know if she's on there though. I know you can bet on you. It won't be on until closer to November, but you can like last election, you can bet on who's going to win, Hillary or Trump. I'm pretty sure Anthony voted on Trump.
But that was on Bovada, though, right? That was on that sleazy ass Bovada.
Yeah, but FanDuel wasn't around for that. It was on all the sites, like because Anthony.
Oh, I know that. I'm just saying.
But Anthony didn't use Bovada, and he did it. So whatever site he was on too.
Let me interrupt. In 2 fucking days, this cocksucker right here is going to be legal to gamble.
Whoa. I'm drinking right now.
Huh?
I'm drinking right now.
He's going to be liable. He's going to be legal to gamble.
Wait.
And fucking drink. Who cares? Who the fuck you think the police are watching this?
I don't
And they're come up to the house and be like, with the cuss, be like, we're coming in, Drew.
I'm just saying,
They're like, is this Teabag 69's fucking house?
All you're going to do is go spend the night in the drunk tank. I've done that plenty of times.
What's the status on you getting oh my god, my brain died for a second. You come to the beach with us.
I gotta put in a request for it, and then I'll let you know. But I am working it.
That would be nuts.
I'm thinking no, dude. I mean, I hope you do. I'm just saying. I'm thinking it's gonna be no. I think that travel ban's gonna be around for a while.
Yeah, you can only hope. You know, you can only hope and fucking pray, and everything else is out of my hands.
So let's talk. Let's talk about something for a couple minutes, guys. You guys' fights don't start till 8. Let's talk about something.
Get a little chit chat going.
No fucking banter. Do you guys want to shotgun another beer?
I'll tell you what.
Another one.
Spike, man, he's a pretty educated fella. I'll give him that.
I'll tell you what.
Their party though, like at some points, I did think like they were kind of like with the time travel thing, they may have been reaching a little bit. But,
It's a little kooky.
Yeah, because then you're just getting into the conspiracy theories of we actually just live in a big fucking time warp. Which, whatever. If you get super high, you might buy into that. I don't know. Let's bring up this though. Hey, wait.
Yeah, he was a super smart guy. He was definitely a super smart guy.
I want to bring this up, and I don't know if anyone ever comments on these things that you tell people to comment on, but what would it take for you to try and fight someone on the golf course? I need to know, because it would not take Big Grizzly very much. I can put that on record. It happened. It was a very funny story. If that would have been recorded, it would have been great. I should have recorded it now that I think about it. But
what happened?
You was against it.
Well, let's hear the story. I mean, we need to
hear the story now.
All right. So, in an unbiased way of telling the story, I'll say it this way. So, we started out playing the Royal Berkshire 9 holes.
Royal Berkshire.
That's a good golf course.
We had what? We had a group of old men foursome right in front of us. They were the group in front of us. But in front of them, there was a group of, what were they, 30s, 20s? They weren't.
Hiram T. Andrews kids.
Yeah, okay. They were hacks. Like, the worst hacks I've ever seen probably on the golf course. Worse than Bag 6'9".
They would make T-Bag 69 look like a pro, from what I've been told.
You look like a pro.
We were log jammed up. I mean, and then to top it off, the old dudes in front of us, they were pretty fucking bad, too. And they were the type of people that look for their fucking golf ball for 20 minutes.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So they played through a hole. So they skipped the hole. They went to another hole because they were like, we're not waiting behind these hacks. Then me and Dad got behind these hacks. Mind you, we were so log jammed that we met this random dude that was playing by himself, and we just let him play with us because, he was fucking waiting on 3 groups instead of 2. So we let him play with us. So we get behind the hacks, and then we're playing slow as fuck, and we get up to, I think it was hole number 6, and they just hit the ball like 10 yards in front of them. Then they hit it like 3 yards in front of them. And then out of nowhere, Big Grizzly just yells, "Speed it the fuck up a little bit." right. I mean, with nothing going on, just screams it right in the middle of the golf course. And so then whatever, they don't say nothing there. Then we go to the next hole. We're like, there's no way they should have came anywhere near us where we were at. And they hit a ball and it rolled past us. So Big Grizzly yells, "4!" Like it's real sarcastically. Then we go to the next hole, and Big Grizzly says, "Fucking, I'm hitting," and he hits it within 5 yards of them, and then they start yelling, "4!"
Oh, wait. Time out. I was lined up in the middle of the fairway, but then I shifted my feet and aimed it towards them. Okay, go ahead.
So then they yelled 4, whatever. then they get up to the green and where we get up, we're like right behind them. And, what?
You missed it. Well, after they were mocking me by yelling 4, 4, I said, no, you don't have to yell 4 when I'm trying to hit you, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. He did yell that. I forgot about that. So then he goes, they're on the green and we're waiting for them to putt, and he just fucking yells real loud, "Sink it, Tiger Woods!" and then what they said, they called him Rory McIlroy. But then that was about it, though. After that, nothing else happened, because then they played 8 and 9, and they got, well, when they left, we were on 9. They got in their little shitty-ass fucking Jeep Cherokee and Subaru, and they started revving it up.
Rev their engines like the fun. You got to put it in context, though, because when they were on 4, and there was no one ahead of them. As far as I could see, 3 or 4 holes ahead of them. And there was people behind us there was 2 groups behind us on the fucking tee box. 2 different groups. That party of 5, and then there was a party of 3. Or a party of 4, and then there was a party of 3 on the fucking tee box right behind us. It was fucking bullshit. Golf course etiquette. If you're a fucking hack, we're all fucking hacks. But if you can't even hit a golf ball straight, let people play through. It's called golf course etiquette. I don't want to fucking hear it. Big Grizzly's going to come at you if you don't fucking use golf course etiquette.
I want a quick little segment here. Big Grizzly, what's your thoughts on the shotgun tool here we got today?
That shotgun tool is pretty fucking awesome.
It's fucking nice, huh?
It's nice. It's a nice, clean fucking poke.
It's a nice little clean hole, the little full send shotgun tool.
Here's the thing. Drew, Teabag69 told me today, "Oh, I'm not going to be bad camera boy no more." And then here we are. He's still a horrible camera boy.
What do you mean?
I thought you fixed your camera.
What do you mean? We have a webcam. It looks good. Yeah.
It looks good up there.
Waz, does it look good for you?
I mean, it doesn't look as good as my fucking camera on my phone, for Christ's sake, which is kind of embarrassing.
Brady, your camera looks a little staticky on here. Our camera looks smoking.
It looks good up in that corner.
Yeah, our camera looks pretty solid up in here.
That's just that Jimmy Hayes cloud of smoke is all that is.
We got an HD camera.
Yeah, we have a 1080p camera right now. From Walmart.com.
We'll see when Teabags/FitGuy69 uploads this shit. We'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, and let's not to mention, Teabag69 got himself a new camera for YouTube videos for his birthday. Big time video coming out Tuesday, by the way.
It's gonna be fun.
Me and Big Grizzly. I don't know if you guys know it, but Steve will do it. Had a 12 shotgun in 12-minute video. We're not professional drinkers like he says in his video, but we're gonna do 12 shotguns.
I'm probably up there with Steve.
I don't know.
Drew's gonna throw up after the second one.
We'll see.
We got no chance.
We gotta make a fucking over-under on this. We gotta make bets.
4.5. I'm putting it at 4.5. I don't think he can do more than 4.
You think you can do
I'm
4?
going under. Are they straight back to back?
Under.
Because there's no way. It's gotta be under.
No. We have 20 minutes to do 12 shotguns for a YouTube video.
Yeah, it's way under.
You don't think I'm
20 minutes seems like why don't you do like 15?
That's hard.
Yeah, dude. You know what I mean?
12 shotguns?
Yeah, 12 beers in 20 minutes is a lot of fucking time.
And if you remember that Steve video, he wasted a lot of that shit too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of waste going on there.
Well, I'm not sitting here going to disrespect.
Big Grizzly won't waste.
I'm not going to sit here and disrespect Steve will do it because he's a professional drinker.
No, he's not.
If you're watching, Steve will do it. We got a challenge.
He ain't watching, but if he is, I'll challenge you. We can go at it sometime.
I think
for beer, not the. I can't fuck with him.
Does he do any liquor fucking things, or is it just?
Yeah, he chucked the whole bottle of Proper 12 in about 5 seconds while McGregor beat Cerrone this year.
It could have been iced tea.
I'm not saying I'm chugging an entire bottle of vodka in 5 seconds, but I'll do a liquor chug for him. Okay, we'll go head to head if he watches this. I got vodka, though. I ain't fucking drinking that Proper 12 bullshit.
Whoa! Don't just Proper 12 on this fucking show.
Here we go. Conor McGregor.
Here he goes. Hold on. He's fucking getting McGregor's cock out.
You don't got the shirt on.
Look, I don't got the shirt on. Look, I didn't wear this shirt just for you guys tonight because I know you guys like to fucking bitch and complain. Oh, Teabag says the corner shirt.
It's fight night. You don't have the shirt on.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor's probably gonna lose.
He ain't
You
fighting.
fucking jinx.
Hey,
Hey.
I just want to say that on the Facebook page on our last video, someone commented, "Why the fuck is he always wearing that shitty Conor McGregor shirt?"
Whoa. Well, whoever was watching that can come fucking fight me. Mono, E-Mono. I'll wear the Conor shirt. Let's see what he got to put up against it, baby.
Bring it
Yeah,
on.
rip it over your fucking head.
Come on.
You know what I'll hit him with? I'll hit him with the shoulder strikes.
Fucking big guy 69.
Thick guy
baby.
69, baby.
Also, what I tagged Drew in the other day, it was a post that said, tag someone you would beat 1v1 cornerback receiver matchup. I tagged Drew, or it was like your third ad or whatever.
You would get dusted, man. You have off. You're not athletic, boss. I'm not gonna lie.
Stand up real quick, Drew. Stand up real quick.
Wait, I'm gonna get in camera. Yeah, you're a twink.
Everyone comment on the video and think, okay, which one of these guys definitely would be the heavy favorite using his feet?
You're a twink.
Okay, twinks are fucking slim. Who do you think's gonna outrun who?
Who cares about slim? I'm gonna hit you with a footwork. I'm gonna hit you with a little fucking shimmy.
I'm gonna fall on your fucking face.
Well, let me say,
Are you a
Let me
twink
say-
bottom or a twink power bottom?
No, he's not a power bottom. Waz ain't a power bottom.
You're not supplying power.
No, Waz is a bottom. Waz is a bottom.
I've seen both of these fellas in athletic competition. Neither one of them are very athletic, so it would be a good comedy show to watch. I think it'd be a close comp.
Okay, that's kind of disrespectful, man. All right, if I come to the beach, just know we can do a best out of 10, and I will smoke Drew and each and every.
Hey, you come to the beach. We do have a football, so we'll see.
Well, I hope so. They cost like $10. Wouldn't be that hard to pull off.
Hey,
Football's a delicacy now.
hey, all I'm saying is, Waz, you come to the beach. You're pitching in for the Cormier Miocic fight because we're betting hard on Daniel fucking Cormier, baby.
Wait, hold
DC.
Before you start talking about your boring ass UFC, why you
Wait,
got me?
hold on.
Hold on.
What about the
Why you
Stipe
got-
fight?
I'm talking about why you got me shotgunning beers? Drew was like shotgun a beer, man.
Because I like using the fucking shotgun tool. I like fucking pressing it open.
I'm not gonna do it with you, but shotgun his beer, bro.
Hey, why don't you shotgun one, pussy?
It reminds me of that fucking
Yeah, who
movie
do you
with
think-
Adam
who do you
Sandler
think's
and
gonna win
David
the
Spade when he's like, "Here, hit this," and he's like, "Here, man. No, I can't smoke that. Are you kidding me? I get drug tested." He already has it rolled and shit for him. Just hands it to him.
Well, Big Grizzly can win the drinking contest. I'll never sound a better drinker than Big Grizzly. But
No, you did say you could shotgun and beer bong beers better than me.
I can't beer bong faster than you. I beer bong faster than you.
But you threw it up, it don't count.
I beer bong faster.
No, you
No,
don't.
but hold on. Let's start this out here. That was my third.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, excuse me. That was like my third
The
beer bong.
chunks of hot dog in the grass said that Drew lost that fucking match.
But let's start this out here. That was my third or fourth beer bong. And that was Big Grizzly's first. So.
That doesn't matter.
but-
You fucking accepted the challenge and you lost.
Can I add to that I beer bong 32 ounces and he only beer bong 12 ounces?
No. When I threw up, I beer bonged multiple 12 ounces before, and then I beer bonged 2 12 ounces just like
But
you
at one
did.
time. No.
Yeah.
No.
You don't. Yeah.
I
don't.
did 2 pounders. No,
You did. No, you did 2 12 ounces.
We'll go review the tape.
There's no tape.
But the fact of the matter
There's no
is,
tape.
mine stayed down, his didn't. So it doesn't matter how fast you did it, right?
No. Okay.
Yeah, it does matter. Listen,
I know,
listen.
I know,
in an eating
I know.
competition, if a dude eats 100 burgers and then throws up and the other dude ate 80, the dude with 80 wins because the other dude
Because
fucking
he kept
threw
it
up.
down.
But all I'm
Thanks,
saying
Waz.
is-
Thanks, Waz.
But all I'm saying is that was my third or fourth beer bong. That was your first.
You should have taken that into account before you accepted the challenge and looked like a dickhead for losing.
It wouldn't matter. You would have lost that.
We'll see at the beach.
Then you'll lose.
Challenge accepted at the beach. At the
Doesn't
beach.
matter. I've been doing
There he
this.
goes with the hand out. He got the hand out.
Hey, look, he's afraid
What
to
are you
shake.
doing? Are you
At the beach.
trying to present Big Grizzly or like, here you have Big Grizzly?
Here you have
Drew-
Big Grizzly.
It was
Drew's
great.
like-
Big Grizzly, I want you to touch up again on your new PR, by the way. That was a squat, right?
Yeah, 525, baby. A 20-pound PR. 20 pounds. My last one was 505 on squat, and it was like 2 months ago. And I haven't retested my squat since today. I was like, I'm going to go for 525. Fuck it. Because, most people go for 5-pound PRs. What's Big Grizzly do? He goes for 20
You
pound
go for
PRs.
the big. You go for the big PR.
He goes for big numbers.
And that's why we
I do.
appreciate you here on the Dude Ranch podcast. You go for it.
I go for it.
You go for it.
I'm like Tin Cup, Roy McIlroy. I go for it.
Yeah.
Baby. I don't lay up. There's no layups.
Yeah. Well, watch the Pro Tour like Brady Gates. Lay up.
If I miss it, I miss it. Who cares? I tried it.
That's true. That's true.
Very true.
Sure.
Hey, so I saw this fucking shit on Facebook the other day. It's like the fucking picture of an NBA basketball court, and it says a layup is
Jason
50
Tatum.
grand from the foul line. It's like 100 grand, and at 3-point range is all different money and shit. You can win $1 million.
Yeah, I saw
What
that.
shot would you guys take? I would go for the fucking layup, 50 grand.
Yeah,
50
I'm taking the layup. That's 50 grand, 100%. It's like, if you didn't hear him correctly, it was like 50 grand for a layup, 100 grand for a free throw, and then there's like 200 grand for a corner three, a straightaway three is like 300 grand or
I'm
whatever.
going to go for the free throw. I can shoot a free throw.
Yeah, maybe the free throw. The free throw or the layup.
What's the layup? 50 grand?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
layup,
then
50 grand.
And the free throw is 100
That's a nice chunk of money, but that ain't going to.
Yeah, but is 100 grand really going to change your life more than 50 grand?
I can do a lot more with 100 grand. For sure.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I'm just saying. You a layup, you're not. You should have
Anyone
been.
who watched me play basketball knows I was a shooter. Shooter, shoot. I'm going for the 300 grand.
Brady
Shooter,
should
shoot,
layup.
baby. Anyone knows me knows I didn't give a fuck. Ben Simmons needs to get with me because I probably shot worse than Ben Simmons in my high school career. But guess what? I
don't
don't
know.
care.
If
You're
Brady was in that competition and he had to shoot a 3-pointer, I'm going to shout someone out here. He probably passed that ball to Chad Eisenhuth to shoot.
Oh!
Well,
Shot fired
First of
here.
all,
Chad, you're my boy. I'm shouting you out, dog.
I watched that dude put up enough shots in his career to know he don't shoot that much better than me.
He's a fucking gunner, dude.
I got a question here. Brady mentions Ben Simmons here. Dad, life on the line, 3-point shot. Who are you putting the ball on your hand? Brady or Ben Simmons?
You know what? I think I might go Brady.
Me too. Honestly, me too.
I might go
It's
Brady.
like Ben Simmons' jumper is worse than Markelle Fulton.
I think I'm going Brady. I think I'm going Brady.
Was life on the line, Brady or Ben Simmons? Who are you giving the 3-point shot to?
Now, you know that me and Brady been best friends ever since we met, but Ben Simmons' 3-pointers come a long way. I'm going Ben Simmons, man. As long as he starts shooting the motherfucker more.
How do you know you haven't? How do you know you don't
He
see-
went from 5% to 6%. He came a long way. He's like the Telly Savalas fucking Gamblers commercial. You come a long way, baby.
Speaking of which, you know who can't shoot threes?
There we go.
Jason Tatum.
Well,
Tatum.
if you're technically speaking, though, Ben Simmons in actual 3-pointers, not considering like full court or half court heaves, he's 3 for 3. So I'm just saying, the very rare he shoots, he does make. Just saying.
Drew is silent.
Okay.
No, what? You're right there. You're closer.
I allowed you to call out Jason Tatum. Go get me.
You didn't allow me to call out Jason Tatum. I'll call out Jason Tatum whenever I want. Jason Tatum.
All right, Drew, I got a question for you.
Yo.
Jason Tatum. Okay, let me say this. Jason Tatum is guaranteed.
You said it
Jason
wrong.
Tatum is guaranteed to win 2 rings in the next 10 years. But if you say yes, I want that, Conor McGregor never exists. What are you choosing? But if you choose Conor McGregor, then Jason Tatum can never play basketball for himself.
Wait.
He just had a brain aneurysm.
What is Connor? What is Connor if I choose him? He gets the lightweight.
He goes and beats Khabib in Moscow.
Oh, fuck. All right,
I'll make it as hard as possible.
All right, so Conor beats Khabib in Moscow, or Tatum only wins 2 rings in Boston?
But if you choose McGregor, Tatum never gets to play for the Celtics. You trade him the next day for chump change.
Can I interrupt real quick though? Because Brady, when he made that, he said Jason Tatum all wrong.
Jason Tatum.
Jason
Tatum.
All right, let me break this down
He
here.
sounds like a Hiram G. Andrews kid.
Let me break this down. I'm a big Celtic fan. I'm a big UFC fan. If Jason Tatum wasn't a Celtic, I would still be a Celtic fan no matter what. If it wasn't for McGregor, I might not be as big as UFC fan as I would be now. But what would make me happier? 2 titles in Boston or Conor sleeping Khabib in Moscow? I'm going to say, just because I've been a Celtic fan for longer.
Wait, Drew, I got to add another thing in here. With you turning 21, if you would have never been a big UFC fan, you wouldn't lose as much money as you're about to fucking lose with all your shitty fucking picks.
Yeah, whatever. I was fine.
I'm still waiting to see my dick framed on your fucking wall.
I was 5-1. Should have been 6-0 in my predictions for that card. Max Holloway won that fight, but anyway,
hurry up! Come on. If I had a fucking thing, I'd be like,
What's it tough? It's a tough decision. I'm gonna go. Conor McGregor.
All right. So he said Conor McGregor. Whatever. Same thing.
I think Drew just likes the color green. If you painted your dick green, Drew would probably fucking suck it.
He'd suck both. He'd suck both.
He would.
I want to know from Waz, how many fucking girls have you sent that dick pic to that you keep on file? I want to know. How many?
I'd say probably like 6.
Ballpark. You're ballpark. 6?
Like 6, I'd say. You know, I don't send unsolicited. You know, we get to talking, my cock comes up, and boom, the pic goes out.
Yeah, because the rest of the dick pics, it's annoying, man.
While we're on the topic of Waz,
he keeps them on file. He's like from 4 years ago.
Oh, that's a great. He's like, that's a great cock shot. That's a great cock shot.
That's great. I'm gonna keep that just in case they ever ask. I'm not gonna send it unsolicited, but if they ask for it, I'm gonna send it.
Oh yeah.
That's the one. That's the one I'm gonna send.
Well, I mean, all of us were in a group chat here with Jane Doe's best friend that was fingered. I mean,
who was sitting right beside me though? That was Brady.
But
on the other side of Brady, whose view may have been obstructed.
We can't hammer this anymore. We're done. It's getting old.
This is the last time we talked about it.
We said that the last time.
But we just got more information on Thursday. Aaron at one point, and she looks annoyed. You keep touching her. Ha ha. Sorry, was.
It was illegally touching her. She was annoyed by your touching.
She was annoyed by your touching.
Listen, her legs spreading wide open didn't look annoyed to me. They fucking kept widening out.
Hey, listen. We're no more after today's podcast will we talk about
unless she comes on
the podcast. We will no longer talk about said fingering unless we get her on here to confront the Danny Hammer about what really happened. But I just had to bring it up because it's new news to the whole story about Waz getting the finger bang. I had to bring it up for the fans who like it, like Deuce Roth.
I would like to say, though, that the closest witness said that it did happen.
What?
The closest witness to the event said that it did, in fact, happen.
But it was said that he was drunk as shit.
He was drunk. I was on that bus.
Everyone
we were all
was
pretty
fucking drunk. You kidding me? It was a goddamn
wedding. Not everyone was drunk. I don't want to mention names, but there was a couple people who didn't seem to be having as much fun as other people. And weren't drunk. You know who I'm talking about. Bray knows who I'm talking about. Once you might know who I'm talking about. I'm not mentioning names. Some people definitely had more fun than others. Like me and a Danny Hammer.
Definitely not talking about yourself because you were fucking shit-faced.
I was pretty shit-faced. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't me and Danny Hammer. I was pretty fucked up. But Was it a hit? Was it a hit?
That was my idea.
That was my fucking. I think that was a pretty big roll by me.
Fuck
For the bachelor party.
That was my whole
I don't know about
idea.
that one. I don't know about that one.
You hadn't watched Trailer Park Boys in years, and I was like,
no.
Get some mason jars.
No, I don't think so.
See, here he is. This is why he fucking annoys people all the fucking time.
Just name Conor McGregor.
Steinberg. What was his name? Steinberg.
He knows goddamn well that was my
I'd like
idea.
to bring something up here. The fucking ratings for players on Madden 21 have been released, and Rob Gronkowski is rated at 95 overall.
Hey, I don't care. If he's a 95, whatever. The thing that urges my fucking stomach was TJ Watt was third in Defensive Player of the Year rating and got an 86 overall in Madden. That is fucking ridiculous.
I'd like to touch on that Defensive Player of the Year and call that bullshit that he was third in the first place. I think he should have won it, honestly.
Yeah.
He was about to argue with him.
Well, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I was ready. What? Whatever.
Yeah.
Won it or not, he came in third place. There's no way he shouldn't even be a top. He wasn't even a top 10 linebacker in Madden. Tell me how that makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Who fuck cares?
And then Minka.
It's a shit game.
And then
it hasn't been good since like.
And then Minka wasn't even a top 10 safety. How does that make fucking sense?
I think the last time that game was good was when maybe Michael Vick was on the cover. That was the last great game.
Well, don't forget, Big Ben's a 70.
No, he's an 81.
I like the Madden when fucking McNabb was on the cover. I think that was 06. That wasn't a bad Madden.
No, another good Madden was when Polamalu and Fitzgerald was on the cover.
I didn't like that one. That one sucked, asshole. You just said that because fucking Polamalu was on the cover.
To me, it was when Vic was on the cover. That was the last great. It was the last great Madden. After that, NCAA took over, man.
Yeah.
NCAA needs to come back.
God, I miss that fucking game.
Fuck,
I see them in my fucking timeline every time I share.
Honestly,
I share it because I get like 2 years or 6 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago.
Brady, before you say anything, I want to get in here about that. You really don't wish NCAA football would come back. Because I don't want to seem rude, but you would probably get embarrassed.
Huh?
You'd get embarrassed by me and Brady. It'd be me and Brady in the title every game.
Whoa! You're leaving the fucking Danny Hammer out of this now?
Yeah, well, obviously we're not. I mean, you're out of the discussion.
Never in our fucking. Was you
yeah,
never in our
no, never was in our online franchises. But
we had a big online franchise.
We had like 7 or 8 people.
It was a big online.
But I mean,
I think I was in it at one point.
He might have been later in the dynasties.
Yeah.
But Big Grizzly, let's be honest, you're getting old. Your game's not as good.
The hand-eye coordination.
It would be a Gates matchup in it'd be a Gates matchup in the NCAA finals, but it'd be me and Brady.
I still pull almost 600 pounds. I can almost squat 500. I squat 525. The hand-eye coordination, it's gone, man. I'll admit it.
Brady, your reaction? It'd be me and you in the
or maybe it's because I don't get enough reps.
Maybe.
Because like when I play Call of Duty, I suck at first, and then once I get some reps, I'm pretty good.
Maybe.
Might be reps.
Brady, your reaction? Be me and you in the championship, right?
Absolutely not. Would you make the championship? I've seen you play in all sports games. You would not break unless it's UFC.
Depending on who's in the league, he might whoop my ass now. I
whoop it. I whoop all your ass.
He ain't beating Waz though. Waz plays more. Madden plays the same as college football. You don't even play. He plays Madden every year.
First of all, college football played a lot different than
Yeah, it honestly did. It was a lot different.
Yeah, but now that they're gonna be damn near the same, just with fucking college names and shit.
Yeah, true.
Well, it depends on who makes it. Like, because they was always made by
EA. No one else is getting that contract.
EA
2K
produced it. No,
2K would never get that contract.
But there was different gaming companies. Like with the Call of Duty franchise, there's different companies that make the game. Like
All I'm saying
Madden and NCAA was made by two different companies.
All I want to say is I want to throw this out here. The last ever season we had in NCAA 14, T-Bag 69 won it.
I don't believe that's true.
Well, no, Brady.
That was the year me and Julius played in the championship, and I won.
That was when he had the Morgantown Panthers, and I'm pretty sure we bought him on that. He edited all his players.
Oh, yeah, he did, because you could edit your team. Yeah. That's what it was.
Hold on. No, let's roll the tape. I was at Ohio State, and Julius was Texas, and that was the final year of the championship, and I won it with Ohio State. And you can fact check that by calling Julius. I'll call Julius right now.
No, but because the funniest thing about it was your recruiting class was ranked way lower than ours every year, but you still won the championship.
Because it was skilled on the stick.
No, because you fucking play.
No. The year I won the championship, I was Ohio State. The year I won the championship, I was Ohio State.
No.
The year I won the
we always did the made up fucking schools.
The year I won the championship, I was Ohio State, and Julius was Texas.
Right? Didn't we always do the made up schools?
Yeah,
not all the time.
I was hired.
The last 3 years we did made up schools.
No, the year of the championship, I was Ohio State, and Julius was Texas. You were Pitt. I don't remember who Brady was.
No,
Brady was Tennessee. Brady was like Tennessee or something.
No, I used Pitt's roster. I didn't Pitt.
No, the last year we did it, we were regular teams. I was Ohio State.
Booster. It's a boost.
Whatever.
Boosted.
We're gonna wrap things up. We're wrap things up here.
All right. Well, we're gonna fucking wrap things up. I'm fucking the chicken. You're holding this fucking feathers. Okay. So, I'm the Danny Hammer on fucking Facebook. Go fucking follow it along with the Dude Ranch page on fucking Facebook. T-Bag69. What do you got for us there, buddy?
I mean, once again, thanks to everyone who watches the Dude Ranch podcast. Also subscribe to T-Bag69. Thanks to everyone who likes, comments the podcast, likes, comments my videos. We're in the YouTube partner program. That's the first. It's a huge momentous occasion for me. I'm ready to make some money. We're in for the long haul, baby. Big Grizzly.
Okay, it's Big Grizzly Barbell. Follow the Dude Ranch podcast on fucking Instagram. Dude Ranch podcast, very easy. He's talking about making money. The motherfucker don't want to give any money to us.
No.
Who helps shut the fuck up? Who helps make his page great? Who helps make his page great? Brady, what you got?
Wait, Brady. Before I interrupt you real quick, I want to say, Dad said he makes my page great. Let's talk about his viral video of him choking and me saving him.
This one video.
Just hitting it.
Oh, my God. That video was so fucking sarcastic. Fuck off, Drew.
Yeah, but it barely hit any views. So.
Brady, go.
Go ahead, Brady.
All right, so to touch on my introduction, I did not forget to shout out Big Grizzly. He was being salty and thought I did. I was saving the power lifter for the last. I didn't want to link him in with the two twinks, fit guy and tranny hammer. So big shout out to Big Grizzly for the PR and the squats. There's only two people in this world that would have killed the Mountain in Game of Thrones, the Hound and Big Grizzly. That's it. Other than that,
nice.
follow us on all our social medias, and yeah, we're about to start taking off.
Link in the description.
Clip that.
Link in the description.
Clip it.
All right, everybody. Fucking have a sexy fucking day. Dude Ranch, we're fucking out. Love you guys. Fuck off.
Peace out.